Children love shiny objects, and if you were a kid in the 80s, there was nothing shinier than a Silverhawk action figure. This is the mythology of Silverhawks. Flying off of the incredible success of Thundercats, famous animation producers Arthur Rankin and Jules Bass decided to create another hit cartoon. The formula: take an awesome word and smash it together with a badass animal. If Thundercats is awesome, what about Silverhawks? Or Tiger Sharks, for that matter. We'll get to that one later. Then license the action figures, make comics, merchandise the hell out of it, and watch the money roll in. Kenner acquired the license to produce action figures and produced 2 waves. The figures are notable for their beautiful chrome paint that made them shine on the action figure shelves, but not quite enough to overcome the immense competition of action figures in 1987, which might be considered the peak year for action figures. Silverhawks had to stand out against G.I. Joe, Transformers, Thundercats, Inhumanoids, LJN wrestlers, Mask, Muscle, and more. While Silverhawks was not the massive success that Thundercats was, it was modestly successful, and certainly more successful than Tiger Sharks, and still has a dedicated fan base to this day. And the story created a unique sci-fi fantasy world which has lived on, and has been revived with toys by Super 7, and an excellent comic book by Diamond. For the purpose of this video, we will use the animated show as the main source, but we may dip into the comic books here and there. As with all action figure mythologies, there are several creators. The animated show was produced by Rankin Bass, most famous for making stop-motion Christmas specials like Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer, and the show was distributed by Lorimar, while the animation was done by the Japanese studio Pacific Animation Corporation, with Masaki Iizuka as production manager. Much of the writing staff and voice talent were taken from Thundercats to ensure the same energy and quality, and 65 episodes of an animated show were produced, and you will recognize many of the voices from your favorite Thundercats characters. Thundercats writer Peter Lawrence worked as the story supervisor and wrote many episodes. A comic book was also produced by Marvel's kid-friendly imprint Star. 7 issues were produced, with issues written by Stephen Perry, who also wrote for the cartoon. The premise: the most evil criminal in the galaxy makes a daring escape from prison. The threat to the galaxy is so great, warriors are recruited from light years away. In order to survive the trip, they must sacrifice their human bodies and become partly metal, partly real. They are the Silverhawks. Silverhawks takes place in the 29th century, in a galaxy called Limbo, light years away from Earth. The villain Monstar is imprisoned in Penal Planet 10, a floating fortress housing the most violent and dangerous criminals in the galaxy. However, when a drifting star called the Monstar floats close to the Penal Planet, Monstar's powerful second form is awakened. The light of the Monstar turns Monstar into a red metal spiked monster with the strength to break free of his prison. Monstar escapes and sees a giant floating squid and recognizes it as his old pal. His former pet does not recognize his master and has become wild. It attacks, but Monstar unleashes the power of his eye, sending out a light star that chases the creature until it hits, transforming it into his ride, the Sky Runner. Monstar escapes, assembles his mob, a collection of the worst superpowered criminals in the galaxy, and begins to terrorize Limbo. Monstar's old enemy, Stargazer, has been waiting. He's the one that put him away all those years ago. Stargazer knows there is no one in the galaxy of Limbo who can stand up to Monstar and his goons, but he has a plan. The Federal Interplanetary Force has created the Silverhawks Initiative. Volunteers from a planet called Earth and one from a different planet, the planet of the Mimes, will challenge Monstar. The catch: in order to make the trip, they must sacrifice their bodies and become partly metal, partly real. Fitted with bionic parts, the heroes will become Silverhawks, allowing them the power to glide through outer space and survive the effects of light speed and intergalactic travel. Professor Gamakian and Nurse Mavis, alien scientists are brought in to create the process that will transform the Silverhawks. The Federation, led by General Rawlings, sends the newly enhanced warriors across the galaxy. The Silverhawks arrive to do battle with Monstar and his minions and protect the citizens of the Limbo galaxy. But who are the Silverhawks? The heroes. The Silverhawks have all undergone a procedure to have their muscles and some organs replaced with mechanics. Each Silverhawk has a faceplate that can be implemented to shield them during intergalactic travel. Some Silverhawks are given metal wings which allow them to soar through space. Lasers are built into their shoulders and sometimes boots, and the process gives them enhanced strength and endurance. Each member of the team is given a weaponized Hawk companion. Captain Jonathan Quick, codenamed Quicksilver, is the team leader and the main hero of Silverhawks. He is determined, brave, and intelligent, a fierce warrior who sacrificed his human body and a life back on Earth to battle Monstar. We do not know much about the man before he became the Machine. He is voiced by Peter Newman, who was the voice of Tigra, as well as many other characters in Thundercats. He is accompanied by Tallyhawk, a cyborg hawk that can be used as a spy satellite. Tallyhawk has razor-sharp wings and can shoot lasers. The new Silverhawks comic by Dynamite takes some liberties with the mythology while still feeling very much like an evolution of the original. In this version, which borrows the plot of RoboCop, Quicksilver is a police officer, injured by Monstar in the line of duty, left for dead. He is saved and turned into a Silverhawk. Commander Bert Stargazer is a cyborg who oddly still dresses like he works in an earthly office, with suspenders, a dress shirt, a necktie surrounding his cyborg neck. He has a cybernetic eye which gives him telescopic vision. The toy had a neat little feature that allowed you to look through his eye. He is the man who once captured Monstar, although it was a long time ago, as both he and Monstar are over 300 years old. He is voiced by Bob McFadden, who played Snarf. He's an older model Silverhawk and does not have built-in weapons. However, he makes up for it by being a pretty good shot. He rides a space cycle that is equipped with a blaster. Stargazer commands the Silverhawks from Hawk Haven, the floating fortress where the Silverhawks live. His animal companion is Slybird and has the ability to photograph and record anything. Bluegrass is one of the few Silverhawks that does not have wings, but he does not need them. He is the pilot of the Mirage, the team's main spaceship. The Mirage has the ability to become invisible and often is used to transport the Silverhawks across the galaxy. The cockpit of the ship breaks off and can become its own nimble little spaceship. Bluegrass is an expert pilot and dogfighter. He also wields a guitar he calls Hot Licks that blasts out energy he can manipulate. He carries a lasso he can use to ensnare opponents. His hawk, Sideman, plays music and can fire lasers. Bluegrass was voiced by Larry Kenney, the voice of Lion-O. Emily and Will Hart are fraternal twins and the strongest of the Silverhawks. Codenamed Steel Heart and Steel Will, they share a bond and can feel what the other is feeling. A failure in the procedure to turn them into Silverhawks resulted in their hearts being replaced with cybernetic ones. Will is played by Bob McFadden, while Emily is played by Maggie Wheeler, who is best known as Janice, Chandler Bing's annoying girlfriend from the TV show Friends.
Kill me now.
Their hawk companions are Stronghold and Razor. Stronghold is capable of lifting massive objects, while Razor can slash through metal. The Steel Twins are gearheads and invent and build weapons for the Silverhawks. The Copper Kid is a volunteer from the planet of the Mimes. He speaks in a series of strange sounds. Copper Kid's vocal effects were provided by Pete Conarazzi, who was a sound engineer on the Rankin Bass shows. Copper Kid is a mathematical genius and wears a suit made of copper. On either hip, he wields razor-sharp discs which he can hurl at his enemies. His companion is Mayday, a hawk with sonic blast capabilities. He also sometimes wears jet-powered roller skates on his boots and wears a supercomputer on his wrist guard. The Copper Kid rides the Space Racer into battle. It is the fastest of the Silverhawks vehicles, and the kid can summon it by using the computer on his wrist. At the end of many episodes, Bluegrass and the Copper Kid would give the audience a lesson on astronomy. In the new comic book, the Copper Kid joins the Silverhawks for revenge against Monstar after the mobster kills many of his fellow mimes. Stargazer at first refuses to allow him to join because he's just a kid, but the kid is a genius and figures out how to use the Silverhawk technology to turn himself into a Silverhawk when no one is looking. Or is it a Copperhawk? Later in the season, the Silverhawks are captured by Monstar, and Stargazer calls new Silverhawks in to save the day. Hotwing is a gold Silverhawk who is a magician and illusionist, voiced by Adolf Caesar and later by Doug Prius, who voiced Linkso on Thundercats. He was given powers by a mystical energy source that chose him for his good character. His hawk companion is Gyro, a bird with a spinning attack. Flashback is a time-traveling Silverhawk from the future. He goes back in time to save the Silverhawks from their destruction. Voiced by Peter Newman, his hawk companion is Backlash, who has the ability to travel through time. Moonstriker can propel himself through space by a powerful cyclone generated from propellers that emerge from his waist. He is an expert marksman. Voiced by Larry Kenney, his hawk companion is Tailspin. Condor is Stargazer's oldest friend. Instead of wings, he flies using a jetpack and wields a gun that fires on an energy whip. His hawk is Jetstream. Every great story needs a great villain, and Silverhawks has an incredible one in Monstar. Monstar is a muscular feline alien gangster with an eye patch the shape of a star. But when light from the Moonstar shines into his eye, he calls out,
Moonstar of Limbo, give me the might, the muscle, the menace of Monstar,
and transforms into a powerful and terrifying metal form. In this enhanced form, he has immense strength. He has jet boosters attached to his elbows, allowing him to fly through space. He can fire the light star from his eye. It is a light shuriken that flies through the air and tracks its enemies. It can cause pain or immobilize or even zombify who it touches. Monstar uses the light star to transform his massive squid-like pet into Skyrunner, a cybernetic monster. When riding Skyrunner, he wields a lance, and he can use Skyrunner's tentacles to ensnare or crush his enemies. His animal companion is Sky Shadow, a gargoyle-like creature that has been transformed into a weapon by the mob's weapon expert, Hardware. Sky Shadow was created when Hardware captured Tallyhawk and made a scan of the Hawk, and therefore Sky Shadow is a dark reflection of Tallyhawk. It can fire lasers from its eyes. At times, Sky Shadow has been transformed into a giant form which Monstar can ride. This new monstrous form proves to be difficult to fight against until the Silverhawks transform Tallyhawk into a giant of equal power. Toys were made of both and are some of the best vehicles in the line. Monstar is voiced by Earl Hammond, the voice of Mum-Ra. Guess he's getting typecast. Monstar and his mob operate out of the planet Brimstar, inside a fortress located under the surface inside a giant crater shaped like Monstar's eye. Monstar uses a transformation chamber, which can rotate in order to place him in the direction of the Moonstar. Yes Man is exactly what he sounds like, a sycophant, snake-like alien who worships and fears his master, Monstar. He is voiced by Bob McFadden. Hardware is the mob's weapons specialist and has a love-hate relationship with Monstar. He creates the mob's weapons and ships and engineers their bird companions. He carries a roll-up bag which hosts many weapons as well as his animal companion, Prowler. Looks like a crowbar-like tool, but on command, turns into a dragon-like creature that can lift and carry Hardware away. Melodia, also voiced by Maggie Wheeler, is the only female member of the gang. She wields a keytar called the Sound Smasher that can fire energy beam musical notes. Her loyalty is often in question, and eventually she turns to the good side. In the new comics by Diamond, she begins as Bluegrass's partner and lover, but betrays him for the promise that Monstar will make her a star. Windhammer has the power to conjure and control storms using his giant tuning fork-like weapon. Molecular is the mob's shapeshifter. He has the ability to transform into any object or person, making him one of the most powerful villains in the series. His powers are controlled by a molecule-shaped disc that looks somewhat like a tambourine. He can grow or shrink in size and has even transformed into the Mirage. The action figure allowed for the limbs to be pulled apart and reconfigured. He also carries a staff weapon. His animal companion is Vulture, a flying robotic vulture that can fire electricity from its wings. Buzzsaw is a sentient robot covered in buzzsaws. He can shoot at his enemies. His Hawk Shredder, really cool name, has a buzzsaw on its head and has razor-sharp wings. Mumbo Jumbo is a robotic minotaur who possesses great strength and breathes fire. He's not the smartest of the group, but makes up for it in brute strength. He has the power to bulk up, increasing his strength and size temporarily. His Hawk Airshock has jet engines on its wings and can transform into a warhammer. Time Stopper is a 14-year-old juvenile delinquent who has a device that can stop time. It is incredible power. However, his fear of the night and darkness makes him easy to defeat. Beyond the mob, there are many other threats to the Silverhawks, like Smiley, a robot boxer that is the heavyweight champion of Limbo, or Darkbird, who is the dark version of Quicksilver. Created by hardware, he has all the powers and abilities of Quicksilver, but he's dark. Monstar's mob ride in 3 floating open cab luxury cars, the Zoomer, the Roadstar, and the Limbo Limo. But Monstar's greatest weapon is the Sky Chomper, a giant yellow long-tailed catfish-like ship with a massive mouth that can be used to crush starships and feed them to the Planet Eater, an entity that exists on the surface of Brimstar and can consume debris and turn it into energy, until it was destroyed by the Copper Kid. Protecting the Limbo Galaxy is the Silverhawks' purpose. The Limbo Galaxy is comprised of many planets full of sentient life forms, and this is where our story plays out. Much of the Limbo Galaxy follows the conventions of the detective or film noir genre and takes place in casinos, dive bars, mafia strongholds, and other locations you'd find in your average film noir. Silverhawks is a detective story where super cops fight against an alien mafia. Planet Bedlama is an Earth-like planet near Hawk Haven. Bedlama is fueled by an artificial sun, run by Professor Power, a light bulb-headed scientist who often helps the Silverhawks. To get around the Limbo Galaxy, you might need a cab, and that's when you call Seymour. Seymour, voiced by Peter Newman in a New York accent, is the Silverhawks' comic relief character. Seymour is a space cabbie who frequently says, "You know what I mean?"
You know what I mean? Well,
he might be inspired by Space Cabbie, a 1950s DC comic character. Zeke the Beak is Seymour's pal. He is a green bird-like alien who often accompanies Seymour on cab rides. His catchphrases are, "You want to buy a fish?" and "Zeke." Penal Planet 10, run by Warden Lockup, is the high-security super prison that seems not to be very good at keeping anyone within its walls for more than a few minutes, as it is constantly being escaped from. The Planet Fence is where you go to get a drink in the Limbo Galaxy. It is home to the Sinistar Bar, a wretched hive of scum and villainy if you've ever seen one. However, the drink must be non-alcoholic, as the bartender Harry often has to remind people. They don't serve alcohol in Sinistar. This is a kids' show after all. So instead of whiskey, you can have a Sonic Tonic drink, a sweetened carbonated drink containing a dash of quinine. Nearby the Sinistar Bar, you may find Automata, a fully machine-covered planet. It is home for Monotone, a supercomputer, also voiced by Maggie Wheeler. Planet Dolar is the banking planet run by Lord Cash, and one of Monstar's favorite places to invade. The light-year limit is a ring of asteroids that are difficult to steer around. Anything beyond the light-year limit is beyond the Silverhawks' jurisdiction, placing limits on their power. This is where you will find the Starship Casino, a floating casino space station where many stories take place. This is where Monstar does much of his business. Poker Face is the robotic, sunglasses-wearing money man of Monstar's mob. He has slot machines for eyes and carries a cane decorated with playing card suits. There is evidence that the Silverhawks exist in the same universe as Thundercats, as well as Tiger Sharks, as all were created by Rankin Bass. There is rumor of a planned crossover toy line called Thunder Force that never came to fruition. However, the 2011 Thundercats cartoon brought the three lines together in an episode called Legacy, where Monstar showed up along with the Tiger Shark Mako, hinting that the worlds do indeed exist in the same galaxy. The Silverhawks cartoon was cancelled after only one season, and only 2 waves of toys were produced. But Silverhawks has stayed alive in the minds and hearts of the kids who love the toys and cartoon. Super 7 has produced a wave of Silverhawks Ultimates action figures, finally giving us the Monstar figure we deserve, and the company Nacelle has teamed up with Super 7 to create a new version of the cartoon that is in the works. An excellent new comic books produced by Dynamite Entertainment update the mythology while maintaining the spirit of the original. The battle between the Silverhawks and Monstar and his mob continues. This is the mythology of Silverhawks. Subscribe for more action figure mythologies, and if you've ever wondered how Thundera was destroyed and how it is all Jaga's fault, check out my video on the mythology of Thundercats.